What's going on, everybody? Appreciate you, boy. Thanks so much. We're back. Here we go. Episode 5. We're here. We're live. Let's go. Your buoy's behind the camera, as always, helping us out, being the best that guy around. We love him so much. Thank you so much. We got the coach here on my left, and we're here. Another crazy week. Obviously, huge night last night. Tons to talk about and get to. I'm so fired up right now. I don't even know where to start. My blood is boiling. I'm hot. I'm ready to go.
Relax. What are you having a hot flash? I'm having a hot flash.
I'm having a hot flash, I think. No, like legitimately, I'm like sweating it out. I'm dying.
Let's take off the sweatshirt.
No, I can't. I'm like full nude under this. I don't know if we want to run that type of show around here.
No, that's okay.
It's like some X-rated stuff. But Coach, what's going on? How are you?
Let me tell you, the whole week went by in a blur. I can't even believe it's Wednesday already.
It's insane.
Well, I had Gabriel home, which was nice. So we had a lot of fun. We did like some summer fun. But man, I'll tell you, having summer fun since going to Connecticut and partying all week, I gained like 10 pounds. I'm like freaking out.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. You're happy. Living a happy life.
No, but it's so frustrating because like it'll take me all summer to diet and lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And then in 1 week, I gained 10 pounds. So I'm kind of like a little bummed out about that.
It is sad.
You know, and we have the movie trailer coming up, and I need to look
Yeah, 29th, September 29th.
September 29th.
Shout out Southern Village, Mind of El Rico Tunstall Studios. I mean, it's a big deal. And this is his third film now. And, you know, you're in it. You're the star. And we got, you know, a lot of things going on where the trailer premiere is coming up. So it's exciting, you know?
Well, it was exciting seeing everybody, too, because we went to the radio station.
You did in Alabama.
Oh, my gosh. I have to say, I miss LG so much, man. He's like the coolest man on earth.
LG?
You know,
he's awesome. He's
like
so
the coolest
awesome.
man on earth.
Every time you see LG is one of those people, and I swear to God, every time I see him, it's always like he's happy.
Yeah.
You know, like he's just one of those people that it just seems like he's always like just positive and happy, and like, you know, it's just, hey, it's just another day, you know, like I'm blessed to just be here, right? He's one of those people that are just like, I'm just blessed to be here and I'm happy.
It's just like
it's great. You need those people, you know?
Well, I mean, his theme song would be like, I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. You know,
I
like
would
he's just a
100%
cool
agree with
guy.
you.
You know?
He
And
is.
then it was great seeing Jerome, which I miss him too. So it was nice seeing him. And then seeing El Rico was so nice.
El Rico.
You know, because it's like you know, you just get close with everybody. So it was great to see them. I can't wait to see everyone at the movie trailer premiere, September 29th. Please come.
At the Foley Civic Center. So shout out anybody who's living in the area. September 29th. It's coming up in a couple weekends. Doors open at 6:30. Event starts at 7. I see. I'm remembering the line.
Good
Doors
for you.
open at 6:30. Event starts at 7. It's a black and gold. Yes, you got to look fancy. And and we would love to see you guys there. So definitely come out and enjoy the night. It's going to be a fantastic evening full of a lot of fun things coming.
I have to say, there's also sad news.
What's the sad news?
Depression has hit the Villa House this weekend.
I don't even know why you're talking about this.
Started and ended the same day with the New York Giants.
I don't even know why you had to talk about it. I don't know why it's even there.
It's like, you know, it's unbelievable because I've always said that Daniel Brown, right? That's his name?
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Jones.
I just think he sucks. I prefer the Steelers over the Giants, but I'm a Giant fan because my son is, my husband is, you know, like you guys are Giant fans. And so I love the Giants. I need them to win. It was awful. This weekend was just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we did the football rant about Florida State. I don't want to go on another 15, 20-minute tangent because there's a lot to get to.
Yes, there is a lot to get to.
I will say this, as a Giant fan and state of the nation for the Giants, I'm so out on Daniel Jones. I'm as far out as somebody can get on one particular person. I hate Daniel Jones more than I hate DJ Ungangalele. Like I hate Daniel Jones. I was a Daniel Jones believer, and partially I blame Dad because I wanted to believe and I never
believed in him the day they drafted him. I said that guy's a lemon.
And we won a playoff game. He looked good, and we had a great year that in 2022.
Terrible. He's terrible.
I wanted to believe.
He's terrible.
But now I'm done. I can't get on board anymore. I sat and I watched what could have been the stupidest person on earth taking snaps behind. Like I can't. I'm just done. I don't even want to talk about it.
All right, we're not going to talk about it because football season's over. Go get your Devils
we need Tommy
jersey.
DeVito next week. Tommy, we need you. Bring us back.
Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets is coming in. We need you, Tommy. We need you back in our lives. But yeah, I can't.
Yeah, let's go Steelers.
Yeah, I see Bill Benny. Forget the
Woo!
Giants and Steelers Nation. Listen,
That's right.
The Steelers, the Steeler defense look fantastic.
Good.
Like they look
That's what makes the Steelers
really
is their
good.
defense.
Yeah,
When
I
their
mean, TJ
defense
Watt's
wins, that's the most
unbelievable. Yeah,
important.
the defense looked great, fantastic. The Steelers won. I think they won by like 6 or 7. But they didn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah, it was
all
all
field goals. The guy went 6 for 6 on the field goals. It was unbelievable. But I mean, who knows? I like the Steelers. I hope the Steelers do well. I have no ill will to the Steelers, but
Thank you.
I'm just I'm just depressed. I'm depressed. I can't
I know
deal
you
with
are
football
depressed.
season.
So football season's already
It's so
over
sad.
at the Villa
It's
House.
so sad.
Just to
But
let
the
everybody
Devils,
know.
the Devils are early Cup favorites, so let's go Devils. We're gonna
Oh
roll
gosh,
everybody.
don't jinx the Devils now.
But just saying, let's go Devils. It's gonna be a huge year, huge year in hockey. But yeah, listen, we all know what the big topic is, right?
The
big
big
topic, the big elephant in the room, Coach.
The debate.
Oh my goodness.
That debate yesterday was terrible, honestly.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah, it was as bad as it can get. It was, unwatchable at times. It wasn't. I didn't feel that any candidate kind of took hold of the win.
Honestly, like listening to the debate today, doing
Yeah,
show
'cause we did
prep on points. Like if we had to do it on points, Trump won because Trump actually had policy. Trump had real concerns. It wasn't a bunch of platitudes. I mean, I have to tell you, like listening to Kamala Harris, liar, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear about when I was a child and I had my mother and then my mother's friend had a small business. And it was just like, come on, Kamala. It would be like if Donald Trump was like when I was young and I was riding my bike down Union Turnpike on Jamaica, Queens. I'd be like, who cares? I want to hear business. I want to hear what business plans you have for the country to make it so that we can have a more livable life.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of the wars. I got to tell you, man, Kamala came out as a little bit of a warmonger.
At times, I would agree, yes.
I was like, girl,
I would agree.
listen to you.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end, when she wrapped it up and she's like, we're going to have the most lethal. I said, lethal army.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I definitely thought.
Kamala.
Yeah. No,
Man,
absolutely.
she's a bit of a warmonger, that one. You could tell she's with the military-industrial complex. Because every person that she was naming, Dick Cheney, the Bushes, 200 Republicans, 200 warmongers.
Yeah, the 4-star general. Oh, you're a 4-star general, chief of staff. It's like, yeah, because he got upset because he wanted to go in and have fights in the Middle East, and Trump was like, I'm not into that.
Trump is not
It's all
into
about
it.
peace. It's all about peace and
He's
making
a
money.
builder. He's not a destroyer.
Peace
He's a
and
builder.
making money.
Yeah, and he wants us all to be rich.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. I mean, if he could have us living like we were in Dubai, he would do it.
Yeah.
He would love to brag and be like, I have the richest country in the world. He would love those
100%
bragging
agree.
rights. And, the people in this country, they just don't get it.
No, I don't. I agree with you. I don't think that they get it. But I think at times people don't see what the bigger picture is. Like they can't figure out that, wars in foreign countries in reality, it doesn't matter to us. Like we need to focus on America first, to focus on the people in this country. I don't really care about Ukraine and Russia anymore. I'm done. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about how we need to go and fight for the Ukrainians. Honestly, screw the Ukrainians. Just let them figure it out themselves. I'm sick of bailing them out. I want to focus on how are you going to better the daily life of an American person? How are you going to make it so that it's not $10 for a gallon of milk? How are you going to make it so that it's affordable for somebody to buy a house? How are you going to make it so it's affordable for somebody to live in that house with the cost of utilities?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. I don't need to hear about how we're going to go help the Ukrainians fight against Russia. I don't need to hear it. Which, quite frankly, to be honest with you, the Ukrainians... I would be pissed too if I was Russia putting a NATO base right on our border. We already surround them on 2 different borders. I'm going to put a third one right on your doorstep. I'd be pissed too. I'd be like, that's a little bit of bullshit. But to each their own. I don't want to start picking sides. But I would if I'm Putin, I'm a little annoyed that you're trying to slam a third NATO base right down my throat.
Well, it is like 100 miles from Moscow.
Yeah, like I'd be like,
the
that's not
problem.
okay.
So, I mean, you can't argue with him there. But why don't we go over? We have some clips.
We have
just a few.
Some clips. We have 40 clips. So we clipped a lot of the debate. So chat, we want to invite you, and we were talking about this earlier. We want to invite you. If there's something in the debate that caught your interest or you want to talk about and have a conversation about, talk to us. Bring it in chat. Let's talk about it. And we have
we have
clip
clips on every topic.
We clip
On every
the whole
topic.
thing. So we can talk about it and kind of go over it and just have an open discussion about the debate. So, Coach, where do you want to begin? We have such a massive list.
I want to start with Kamala's intro.
Okay.
And then I want to do Trump's intro. So that way we could listen to the two of them.
Okay, so let's go.
We'll
start with 1 and 2. Let's do it.
Let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses.
Her hair
America's
looks great.
deficit. My opponent
Her hair
I'm
looked
just
great.
saying her hair
Her hair
was
and
on
makeup was
point.
on point. I thought.
Which
I
would
thought
be
she
a
looked all right. I
20%
did. I thought
tax
that the
on
appearance was there.
everyday goods
Those
that
earrings
you
were a little
rely on
questionable,
to
though.
get through
Oh,
the
the
month.
earrings. Yes, we are going to get to
Economists
the
have
earrings.
said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
So that was intro 1. And I mean, obviously, I came from a middle class family. And no, honestly though, when you hear that intro, and the first question was just straight up like, let's talk about your economic plan. Mm-hmm. When your first line out of the gate is, well, I grew up, like you're giving a biography speech.
It's like, because she has you have 30 seconds. It's like when you don't know the answer and you tell the teacher,
Yeah.
you give a whole big story. And it's like, all right, let me try to give a fact in the last 10 seconds, but then I'm out of time.
It's just like, the question was just simple. Like, let's just talk about your economic plan.
No, let's talk about, are people better off now since 3.5 years ago?
Right.
And I mean, if you had good results, you'd be able to list them.
Right.
Let's be honest. You'd be able to be like, yes, they are. Boom, boom, boom. And
yeah, no, listen, I mean, the fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is that people aren't better off. Like, that's just the truth.
Everybody
They're not
knows it.
better off. Like, it's just not, people are poorer now. Mm-hmm. Things are more expensive now. Mm-hmm. And that's just the truth. And you could say all you want, Trump's mean, Trump this, Trump that. But the fact of the matter is when you go to the grocery store, compare your bill from 2019 to today and tell me which bill is cheaper. That's just the fact of the matter in terms of economic prosperity. Let's compare the numbers.
Well, listen, Lord Central is saying that he thinks that those were Nova earrings. And the whole debate, I'm looking at those earrings, and I'm like, those earrings are so weird. Like, that's the choice that you make. And I heard that they might have actually been feeding her information through those earrings. And people were even putting on social media the exact same earrings. The brands and everything.
Right, yes.
So, I mean, honestly, do you guys think that they were feeding her information through those earrings?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was clear.
I don't know.
I thought it was pretty clear, to be honest.
I thought so, too.
Because there were times in the debate where she would just pull out the most random statements that it's like, where did you come up with that? That wasn't just in your head. Like the random facts that are just like, back in...
Well, sometimes she looked like she was listening.
Yeah.
And it wasn't listening to Trump, when she'd be like,
Or when she was jotting stuff down.
Yeah.
Did you notice the whole time
she was
that
jotting
she's
stuff
just
down
jotting
all the
stuff
time,
down, jotting
all the
stuff
time.
down?
He didn't jot down one
writing?
time.
What
I
are you
didn't see
writing
him
there?
lift a pencil.
What are you writing?
Not one time did I see him lifting the pen or pencil.
Yeah.
Yes, it was 3-on-1. It totally
Trump
was
won
3-on-1.
Muted mics. This is insane. Yeah, no, I know, Potter. It really is. It really is. And I do agree with you, Potter. The fact that there was no audience, I think definitely, it was very clear that it was a battle.
He would have had some big laughs if there was some audience, especially when he was like, I am speaking.
Yeah. No, it's true. It definitely, I definitely think that the no audience was a major factor because you're allowing the candidate to be one-on-one, right? The idea is that you're one-on-one with the candidate. There's no, outside noise. But then it kind of gives the moderators this overall sense of control where they really can dictate where everything is going to go. And the moderators were consistently always battling Trump on anything he said. And we're going to go through the clips. Every time Trump spoke, it was, actually, President Trump, we hear that it's this, and this.
No, they were fact-checking him all the time.
The whole time was just a battle where he was constantly going at it with David Muir. And
You mean David Demure?
David Demure?
He's David Demure.
Quite demure, Mr. David.
He's like, I'm David Demure.
I know. With that, did you see how tight his hair was too? How much hairspray did you think that guy was rocking? And gel.
Every hair was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
Every hair was perfect.
I need to make
and that
sure.
nose, right?
Well, because David, he's all the time. He's on Instagram. He's pushed down by ABC. He's like, you could do the Instagram stuff. You could do the TikTok stuff, David, because the real people are on the big channel. So he's like, this is my chance. I need to make sure I look good. They can put me on TV because he doesn't watch TV.
Of course not.
Trump,
He's David Demure.
I don't watch TV. I get all my news from TikTok. But I don't get anything from X because you can't believe X and Elon.
Well, let's play the Trump intro.
Right,
I'm excited to see Trump.
So let's talk about Trump's intro. Let's go into it. Clip 2. Sorry,
Yes,
Bowie.
sorry.
That's my bad. I'm not paying attention. I'm watching
no
chat.
sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. It would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no one fit. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. We have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden.
Oh my gosh! I've already got our country. You sent me 2-minute clips after. You're like, I want this timestamp to this timestamp. It's 2-minute clips. Listen, I'm getting them the information.
All right. So we have the entire Trump intro here.
It wasn't even the entire Trump intro. The Trump intro, I could have added another minute to that. But, breaking down the Trump intro just a little bit, and one of the things that I found interesting, and it's true, is that when he brings up the migrants, because a lot of the times they say that he's deflecting, right? When he talks about the migrants pouring into the country.
It's reality.
But it really is an economic situation because what he said is true. Those jobs that are occupied by the African American community and the Hispanic community, Hispanic Americans, those jobs are the ones that are going to be taken away.
But Carlos, listen, after being in New York for a month, right? It's not just the jobs, it's the resources.
Yeah.
It's the fact that people need help. They go to the welfare office or they're going because they need health care and there are already 200-300 people in front of them who need the same thing. We don't have the infrastructure to go from supporting, let's say, 1,000 people to having 20,000 people show up overnight.
Oh, more than 20,000
And you need to find them a bed, a toilet, a shower, someplace to go get food.
100%.
It's ridiculous. It's putting such a strain on our resources as well as our infrastructure.
Well,
and that's why people are homeless all over the street.
Yeah.
People are eating geese out of the rivers in Ohio.
Cutting geese heads
and we're
off.
not just making it up. It's really pathetic what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair to people like Mayor Adams, and I don't like the way that they're going after Mayor Adams. It's unfair to people like Mayor Adams to have a city that's already in decline because of COVID to all of a sudden have buses and buses full of people show up at your doorstep and you have to find a place for them.
Well, it's become so bad that they're dropping them in the middle of rural towns.
Yeah.
And that's what they had to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you really think about it, that's what they had to do. Because we've gotten to the point now where these massive cities, where they were all going to begin with, are out of everything. I mean, look at that video that I sent you from Bert Kreischer. I don't know if you guys follow Bert Kreischer on TikTok, but he posted a video. He's in California at a Rite Aid, and every shelf is completely empty.
Yeah.
Every shelf. He's walking through aisle after aisle, and you can pull it up. It's there. If you go to his TikTok, you will find the video that I'm talking about. He's walking through aisle after aisle after aisle. There's nothing there. Everything is completely gone. The resources are gone. The resources are gone. So you're 100% right. It does come down to resources.
They're totally screwing the regular Americans, and
Yeah.
it's also the education. All of a sudden, all
Right.
these kids just show up at the school. The school's not ready for them. You know, you need to order a certain number of books, desks, chairs. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much stress being put on our economy by just having people show up. We
Yeah.
need to have immigration, but it has to be legal immigration.
Right.
Not where all of
Right.
a sudden thousands of people show up overnight.
You can't just show
It's
up and
not
pile
right.
over.
It's
And
just
you
not
can't-
right,
you
and
have
it's
to-
unorganized.
100%. That's the biggest thing. It's unorganized. You have to be able to know who is coming in. You can't just allow whoever they want to come across. You can. That is a security threat.
Listen.
You're putting a lot of people in danger, which we see in Aurora, we see in Springfield.
Yes.
We see all over the United States. People are in danger.
Well, that's another issue.
Yeah,
so you
that's a
have
whole nother
crime,
thing.
But I used to work in facilities management at Avon
Yeah.
years ago, like when I was in my 20s. And you need to make sure that you have a desk for people, you have a chair for
Oh, yeah.
people, you have
Oh,
a
yeah.
telephone. Like there's certain things that you need to get in place. You
Yeah.
can't just have thousands of people show up, children show up, have 320,000 of them disappear, but that's another story.
Right.
And just think that your country is going to do okay doing that.
Yeah.
It's not. And they
Right.
are managing us into decline. And I totally agree with Trump with that.
No,
Totally
I would
agree with
I would
him.
agree. I would 100% agree. Just touching base with chat real quick because we do have chat in front of us. El Rico, shout out El Rico. We were talking about Southern Village. We shouted it out. El Rico, I love you. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given us. All right, so I see you, Isabella. I see you, Bella Baron. You're pulling on my strings here. I can see you. So I want to touch base with a couple of things here, right? Because as they should. So you're saying that they should have somebody feeding Kamala information into her ear to try to call Trump out? Listen, nobody is more full of BS than the Democrat Party, and that's just a fact.
Oh, she was a liar.
I mean,
pants
there's
on fire.
nobody that's more full of it than the Democrat Party. It's just the truth. They lie through their teeth about the simplest things.
I have to say one thing, Bella. When she went to go shake Trump's hand, all
Oh,
I
the
kept
handshake?
thinking is, I would be like, girl, you just tried to shoot me a couple of weeks ago. Don't even play yourself. You know the deep state tried to assassinate Trump. I'm telling you, when she went over to give the handshake, I would have been like, I know you're not coming to shake my hand after you just put a bullet on my ear.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, she has some nerve, that
Right.
Kamala. But you got to give her a little bit of credit for that.
That
I have
was-
to
that
say,
was
that
ballsy.
takes
That
some
was
cojones
ballsy,
to go
yeah.
up to somebody and shake their hand after
After you
trying
just
to
tried to-
assassinate
after you just
them.
tried to shoot him?
I mean, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that was crazy. That was
you
crazy.
can see Trump was like, I don't know if I should, the
Yeah.
poison handshake.
I know that could have been like that scene from the interview, like when James Franco is coming up. Come on, that's what it is. It's the scene from the interview.
And he's a germaphobe,
And then
too.
he sneezes. Oh no! And the CIA is, you're dead. Like you just blew it.
I have
That's
to
what
say,
it
that
is.
handshake was something. I do have to say
no,
that.
100%, 100%. No, I agree. Yeah, that was a power move. So I will give it to Kamala. That was, I mean, you try to kill somebody basically, and then say,
you
"Hey,
know,
what's going on?
you know
Nice to
it was
meet
them.
you.
They were
Nice to
like,
meet you,
I think
Don."
it's Iran. Let's just
Yeah.
pull an enemy out of the hat. Yeah, because,
It's true. J.A., I'm an African American. I really need a president that is America
Of
first. I
course.
really need to make life more affordable. In Biden's America, I'm not getting by. And listen, that's the
We're
point.
all
That's what we're
struggling.
talking about.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. When you come down to the facts, were you better off financially back in 2019 compared to now? And the truth is, yeah, you were. Like, that's just the truth.
We're all American.
Right,
And
we're
that's the
all
thing.
American.
They keep trying to divide us into little tiny sections, but we're
Yeah.
all American. And we have to be united.
Yeah,
You know, we
100%.
can't be in any different classes anymore. It has to be, we're American. And we need our country to be great. And we need our schools to be great.
Right.
And we need to have money in our pocket. And we need to have cheap energy.
Yeah.
And we need to know who's coming into our country. Mm-hmm. You know?
No, I agree.
Like, that has to be a priority number one.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that is not the Democrats' priority.
It's
Their
not.
their priority is
No, it's
war,
not.
war.
Yeah.
It's
No,
totally
I agree.
war. And what's with that Project 2025 reference?
I was
That shit
just-
came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
sorry
just
I
gonna-
used the S word.
No, man. Coach, you're turning into me.
Well, because, I mean, it's such Why?
Yeah.
Like, how many times does he have to say, I'm not doing Project 2025? I didn't
They
write
talk
it.
about
I'm
it all
not
the
involved
time.
in it. It doesn't
Right.
matter how many times he says it. It's like they keep repeating a lie so that way it becomes the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me crazy.
No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. So, talking about Project 2025, let's go to clip 3 and bring up. So Kamala brought up the reference that Trump is going to introduce and bring in Project 2025. So let's just do it. Let's see what she's talking about here.
People, but I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling. What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
Number one, I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before.
Yeah. So again, he has to clarify that he's not a part of Project 2025.
No matter how many times he says it, it's like they don't want to hear it. Well, let's play. I have to play clip 4.
Yes.
Because I need everybody to hear the actual author of Project 2025.
Right. So let's go to the architect of Project 2025, and maybe he can convince these people that Trump is not involved.
And now for his first television interview since he stepped down as the director of Project 2025 in July, I am joined by Paul
I see
Dance.
this guy's
It's great to
face.
have you here.
And he reminds me of the South Park character.
From the conventions. It's almost inevitable that this will be brought up on the debate stage tomorrow night. Are you worried that your work could be a liability for Trump when he's on stage up there tomorrow?
No, not at all. And thank you for having me, Caitlin. Look, President Trump's the greatest debater, bar none, of our time. And, the breaking news is Trump has nothing to do with Project 2025. Sure, a lot of us have worked in the admin and came together, but this started long before he even announced for president. It was really a coming together of the conservative movement.
All right, first timeout. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Bella, Kamala is in Joe Biden's administration. Kamala is Joe Biden's vice president.
And
All of her policies are essentially the same as when they ran in 2020.
All right, but I have to say this, Bella, if you think Joe Biden is running the country, I have bad news for you. He's not.
You're
and
right.
if you think
He's completely
Kamala is
not.
going to run the country, I have bad news for you. She is not. The same people who are behind Joe Biden is the same exact people who are going to be running the country if Kamala wins.
Right, the same group.
So arguing with Biden, Kamala, it doesn't matter. The same people who are actually running the country are the people that are behind them. Because Joe Biden is not running the country from the beach, okay?
Underneath that tent.
Yeah, I mean,
Underneath
he
that tent.
sleeps all day at the beach. He's not running the country. I just have some news for you.
Yeah, no, it's true. But going back to Project 2025, right? So on the topic of what we were talking about, clearly he's not involved with the writing and formation of Project 2025. He has nothing to do with it.
Trump's like, I never even read it. I
Yeah.
don't want to read it. Trump is such a New Yorker. He has his own opinion. He doesn't need somebody to write up his opinions for him. He's not Joe Biden. He's not Kamala. He has his own brain, and
Right.
he's like, this is what I think.
Yeah. He totally speaks from the heart. That's one
Yes.
thing that nobody could say that that's not true. Trump just speaks what's up. Like he's just like, this is what's on my head. This is how I see things, and I'm telling you how I see it.
Much to his detriment.
Much to his
Much to
detriment.
his detriment.
At some points, absolutely. But yeah, he just calls it as it is. It's just, listen, this is the picture. This is what I see. This is how things are, and it is what it is. Like he's just straight up about it. And you could clearly tell there's that separation where the Democrats have the agenda. This is what we believe. This is what's truth. This is how it's going to be.
Military-industrial complex that runs the Democrat Party now.
Yeah.
It's a uniparty. And for years, they made us think that we actually had a choice in an election. It was either the Democrats or the Republicans, but it's really the uniparty. And
Yeah.
I think it's all come out of the closet, the way they talk about John McCain now,
Yep.
the way they talk about
Yep.
Dick Cheney now. And they're the uniparty. Trump is an outsider. RFK is an outsider. Tulsi Gabbard is an outsider. And they're uniting together to try to save this country. And that's the truth.
Well, one thing, shout out JA again, is the Democrat Party has had the same 20 and 30 individuals running the country for the last 60 years. The Democrats have held office, and we talked about this on earlier shows, they've held office for 12 out of the last 16 years. So when you keep preaching about how we need to change, we need to do things differently, and we're going to change things up, we can't go back to the same old, we got to do things different in a new direction. You've been in office for 12 out of the last 16 years. You've ran the show. You've had control of the House. You've had control of the Senate at times. You have ran the show for 12 out of the last 16 years, and you haven't changed a thing.
Well, Carlos, I'm a little older in this show, right? I'm 50.
But
You're
we're talking
24,
Obama.
and I'm going to discuss George Bush.
Oh,
if we go to our next clip where Kamala Harris starts talking about Goldman Sachs putting in their 2 cents about how Donald Trump should be running the economy, I'm going to give you a little history after that clip and tell you what I thought about that watching the debate yesterday.
So let's go to clip 5 and talk about Goldman Sachs.
Best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country.
Right.
All right, so let me tell you about Goldman Sachs.
All right, break it down for us, Coach. Give us a history lesson.
So when George W. Bush, with Dick Cheney as his vice president, one of the former members of the Uniparty, there was a man named Hank Paulson, who was the head. He was the head of the Department of the Treasury.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
He's the one who caused the economic crisis in 2008. He was also the CEO of Goldman Sachs.
Okay,
So do we want the people from Goldman Sachs running our economy again?
Giving us
And think about it, Kamala's coming around with the same policies about, we're going to give people housing, we're going to give people money. That's what happened in 2008.
Yeah.
But Hank Paulson, because even corporations have problems, went after Lehman Brothers, put them out of business. There was a run on the banks. Sure enough, economic crisis.
Yeah.
You cannot have the government control the free market all the time. And this whole housing plan from her, and then she brought up Goldman Sachs, it's like I was having flashbacks to the early 2000s.
Yeah, right.
We don't want another economic crisis like 2008.
Well,
And
that
then-
was one of the key things, to your point, was they were giving out bank loans to people who couldn't, do it, and then they foreclosed on them.
Oh my! But Carlos, that is the same exact thing. When she brought up Goldman Sachs, I had the shivers down my spine because that was Hank Paulson. He was the Department of Treasury, the head. He was at Goldman Sachs. We do not want to be listening to those people.
Yeah.
We need somebody who actually had a small business, not coming from a big corporation, to get this country out of the gutter again when it comes to our finances. I'm sorry, but Trump is the guy for that.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Goldman Sachs people.
No, absolutely. You hammered it on the head.
Right?
That was A plus history. You should teach a class.
Well, that's because I'm an old lady. I've been around, baby. I've been around.
You've seen the days.
I've seen things. I started
Got
on
the
Wall
miles.
Street 15 years old, and I'm not just making that up.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Lower East Side. I've been on the street my whole life. My mother worked at S&P. My husband works in finance.
Yeah.
I know something about the way these corporations run, and they're not nice people.
Right.
They really aren't, a lot of them. It used to be better back in the day, but it got really bad. And, they became too big to fail.
Yeah.
And the government had to bail them out. And we got screwed in the process. Let me tell you, not good. Not good. The minute she brought up Goldman Sachs.
Not good. You can't have it. I love it. Not good. We need to do things differently.
We sure do.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. I think you nailed it on the head there. And listen, the funny thing, and I like going back to our original points and talking about it, they go after this guy's economic plan like the country was in disarray.
The country was doing
when
great.
he was running show. Like we had an economic problem because we had a pandemic that
A plandemic.
A plandemic.
A plandemic.
Which,
I said
we
it.
could get,
I said
we
it.
can get into it. I mean, listen, And to when something that you mentioned earlier today when we were talking about the show and everything, and I thought that was interesting was you said how the reason why the economy kind of collapsed was because they left it up to the states to decide when you could open and when you couldn't open.
Yeah.
And that really showed, that really caused the economic, dismemberment.
In different places, because Florida was living large. That's why we moved here.
You had states like Florida that had a lot of economic success, and things were opening right back up and picking up right where they backed off, and they actually grew economically. The state grew in success, where you had states like Connecticut and New York and New Jersey that kept saying, well, we're going to close. Detroit has been in disarray.
Detroit was so
Detroit's
bad.
been in
We
disarray
went
for a
there for my
long
brother's
time.
wedding. You have
long
4-lane
time.
highways. There were like 2 cars on the highway.
Yeah,
It
Detroit
was
was
pathetic.
awful.
It was really
awful.
sad to see. It's like, am I really in the United States? What
Yeah.
the hell? It was talk about a ghost town. It was like a ghost city going
I
to
don't even
Detroit.
think it's recovered. I think it's still a ghost town, to be honest with
Well, I'm telling you, it showed where the red states were
Yeah.
and where the blue states were. And the blue states were in really bad shape.
And
So who
whose
you gonna
governor
listen
could
to? The
figure it out?
Democrats or the Republicans? Give me a
Right.
break. We need to start coming back to reality.
you. Yeah. No, I think you're nailing it. You're right on it today. I love how fired up you are. All right. So speaking of the economy and sticking on the economy, let's go to clip 6 here. Trump talking about the failing Biden run spot run economic plan. So let's go to
This
that.
is Kamala's plan.
Kamala's plan. Yes, Kamala's plan. Sorry about that. Not Joe, because they're not the same.
Just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Yeah. No, I mean, and yeah, Bill, exactly. I mean, you nailed it. Listen, and like we said, they left it up to the states. Trump was like, I'm not going to mandate. If you want to do it your way, you could do it your way. And we saw the proof was in the pudding.
Yeah.
Florida opened back up. They were like, we're not going to sit down. We're just going to open up and we're going to, play it as it is. And it worked out. And Florida's never been better. Florida has success. People have their jobs still. It's been growing. People are moving here. It's clear as day who was right and who was wrong. Where you have states in the Northeast that are suffering economically. Businesses are leaving. They're getting taxed to death to try to make up money that they lost because they stayed closed so long.
Even increasing the energy.
The proof is in the pudding of who was right and who was wrong.
Results matter.
Results matter. Leesan Villa, results matter.
Results matter. You
That's
got to look
right.
at the results.
Another
Talk
t-shirt.
is cheap. That's a New York thing. Talk is cheap. Results matter.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So relating back to the debates, circling back now that we kind of touched on the economy a little bit and what the economic conversation was kind of like, we talked about it a little bit earlier. It was almost like Trump was fighting a 3-headed dragon.
Oh my gosh, it was 3 against 1.
Yeah, it was 3 on 1.
There was at one point where David Demure was like...
David Demure.
I keep thinking it's David Demure.
David Demure.
Look at how I asked this question.
Hold on.
Demure.
Let me get my chin up. So,
Oh yeah, with that thing.
President Trump, actually.
Oh, he was like, so...
Yeah, I love that when like you can tell he's like sticking his cheek out. Yeah, so David Demure.
He was even saying, and then Kamala Harris says,
Yeah.
because it's like, why are you speaking for Kamala Harris?
Right.
I'm watching a debate. She hasn't said it one time.
Yeah.
You're saying it, David, but Kamala's not saying it.
Yeah.
I was like, the nerve of him, but Kamala Harris says that you.
Right. No, he was. So let's go to that clip because this was a crazy clip to a point where it really was like he was debating David.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Take a look at this clip, and this was one of many times that this happened, but this was just one that stuck out to us. So this is clip 7.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice President brought up your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because
Look at that.
your
Look at
plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing
Get that camera
tariffs
back
up
on me.
to 20%
Don't
on
show
goods
that.
coming into this
Get that back
country.
on me. Come on.
As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year.
He's still
Do you
talking.
believe Americans can afford higher
Still
prices
talking.
because of
He's
tariffs?
They're not
doing
gonna
the
have
debate
higher
against
prices.
Trump.
What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration.
Yeah.
David Demure.
David, I mean, but listen, going back, touching on, I guess, the tariffs, right? Because they like to try to press on the tariffs a little bit. And I honestly, I mean, and I thought Trump put it perfectly. It's like, if you're so against the tariffs and you think the tariffs are such a bad idea, why are they still implemented?
Because
The
they need the
tariffs
money.
are still there.
They're so full of it. They lie
Yeah.
about everything. And that's
Totally.
what's so frustrating because they don't want to give them credit for anything.
No,
including
never.
drilling for oil.
Yeah.
They right away,
Which
they
they went
cut the
back to.
drilling for oil and then secretly they go and they're drilling
Yeah.
for the oil now to bring down the gas prices before
Yeah,
the
you think
election.
it's a surprise that your gas prices are a little bit lower these days? You think it's like a shock? Wow, Biden's doing a great
It's
job.
right before the election.
It's using Trump's policies that made the gas cheaper. That's all Trump's policies. Drilling, being energy independent. That's
Totally.
the biggest thing, energy independence.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what we were when Trump was president. We were energy independent. We were exporting oil. We were exporting in oil.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting it out there and people were paying us, paying off the debt. They talk about Trump, oh, his plan is going to raise the debt ceiling. More people were paying us than we were paying out.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. The income was a lot more than what was going out. It's just the truth. The
and
numbers
the whole
support
world
it.
didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's why the whole world worked together
Yep.
and said, we need to come up with a plan to stop that Donald Trump. He's making
Yeah.
China pay tariffs. He's making NATO pay their fair share. What do we do to stop Trump? I don't know. Let's
what do we do?
go to the next clip
Clip
8
8.
and use your imagination a little bit.
What could we do? What could we do? How do we stop the economic growth?
But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
I
Oh,
was
the
like,
origins.
Oh my
The
gosh.
origins
Did
of
she
COVID.
slip up? Did she say, you mean it wasn't from the wet market?
You wait, you didn't, it's not from a bat? It wasn't
No,
from a bat
I don't think
that
it's from
they
the bat
ate?
in the wet market. I think she was going to
Really?
slip and be like, you know, he said that damn virus coming from the lab.
But-
I swear, I thought she was going to come
But
out and
they
slip
told
it
us
up.
that they said, CNN, the Democrats, they said it was from a bat. That the
was a lie.
Chinese
It
would
was
have
a
dared
pandemic.
do something like
I'm
that.
sorry, but I really believe that thing was made in a lab.
Yeah.
And when he used to call it the China virus, they were like, he's so racist. He's so
Racist,
racist.
racist.
He's so racist. It was the China virus, and
Yeah.
she pretty much slipped up there, in my opinion.
Yep.
And then was like,
Yeah, then
Let me change
then,
the
then
subject.
then the earring was going off like whoa 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 whoa. The earring was, hold on, what are you doing? Reel that back. Reel it back in. Hold on, Kamala. Hold on there. Let's not get crazy.
slow down, Mama Kamala,
Hold
slow
on,
down.
hold on, sweetheart. Don't get too crazy now. You're gonna stress us out. We're stressing out backstage. No, that's seriously exactly what would happen. And speaking of which, you know, we were talking about them using Trump's policies.
my gosh,
how
yeah.
about Trump? He was just like, yeah, I'm gonna send you a MAGA hat you're using on my policies. I'm gonna just send you one. I'm gonna send you a MAGA hat. Let's go to that clip. He said
Yeah,
clip
clip
number
9.
9.
So
Clip number
funny.
9. Where he's like, yeah, you're using so many of my policies, I'm gonna send you a hat. How about that?
I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago and 4 years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy.
I love her
In fact,
facial
I was going to send her a
expressions.
MAGA hat. She's going to
I
my
love that.
philosophy.
I was gonna send you a MAGA hat. Oh,
Well,
send
her
me a
hair
MAGA
is
hat.
so nice. I'm sure she's like, with this silky smooth hair.
I know. Do you think she went to her friend at 10th Avenue Salon for the?
I'll tell you, her hair
the
looks
hair?
so good. I was like,
she
damn.
made a trip quick to 10th Ave Salon for the hair. I think. Man, I don't know. That's what I got from
Yeah,
that.
she went to Jacob Head. That's the
Yeah,
best hair in town, baby.
you know, big guy there, big guy. So one of the biggest things, right? So moving on to the debate, because the debate, there's so many topics that we have to touch on. And one of the biggest things in the debate, obviously, because this is the Democrats' biggest selling point, is of course the abortion. That's the number one selling point of the Democrat Party. Trump wants to sign a national abortion ban. That's the big poster. National abortion ban from Trump Vance.
Well, you know what frustrated me so much is that this is a point where I felt that the moderators should have fact checked and said,
One of them.
actually,
One of many.
once Roe versus Wade was overturned,
Right.
there have never been more abortions in this country.
A record amount.
And that's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just making it up. There are more abortions now since Roe v. Wade has been overturned than there was before. So I really wish that the fact checkers would have been like, well, hold on a minute. We can't say that overturning Roe v. Wade has stopped
limited
abortions
abortion.
because we have a record number of abortions going on right now.
100%.
And that really upsets me, honestly. Like, I'm not for human sacrifice, I have to be honest. And I know that term offends people, but I'm sorry, be offended, because you are sacrificing a human life for whatever it is in your life.
Yeah.
It's your finances, your job, your career. Maybe you don't like the person you got pregnant with. It was a one-night stand. I don't know what you're sacrificing that human life for, but I think it's bad cultural policy when mothers are sacrificing their children.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And to the point, right? Because there is, obviously they talk the exceptions.
Yes, and there are exceptions.
And there are exceptions. And even Trump said there are exceptions.
Yes.
Even Trump, right? The big guy against abortion, who is honestly pretty pro-choice in terms of a Republican candidate. In all honesty, and if you want to talk about a Republican candidate, he is as far pro-choice as there has been ever. So I want to do honestly. This is a little out of order. I want to do
That's
clip
fine.
13 first.
Okay.
Talking about Trump saying, there are exceptions, and he's for the exceptions. So let's go to the exceptions first.
Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important.
Yeah, so exactly the rape and incest exceptions. And listen, I am a person that, in extreme circumstances like that, you got to do what you got to do, and health wise. But we're talking about human sacrifice to the very bone, and this is when we got into the late term abortion talk, right? And late term abortion that's in third trimester abortions, and that was one of the main focuses last night.
Well,
Now-
they sure fact checked that.
Well,
the
and they were
moderators
wrong.
were excited to fact check that, and
they were wrong. They were
And
wrong.
they were wrong.
So they fact checked Trump. Trump made a statement last night, and we're going to go to the statement. That's going to be on clip 10. And we'll go to it first, and we'll talk about it. So let's go to clip 10 first.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in
Right. So what he was talking about, and it's so funny because they fact check. They didn't fact check that he messed it up, that he said the governor of West Virginia when it was actually Virginia.
Yeah.
Right. So they talk about not correctly fact checking. So the governor of Virginia, not the current one, the one previously.
Well, because they don't want to admit that somebody actually said that. It's so disgusting.
Went on a news program and talked about how in circumstances where the mother gives birth to the baby, and now the mother decides, what did I do? Like, I don't want this baby. And they bring the baby.
Well, I think what happens is some of the women get their abortion so late term
Right.
that it's called a partial birth abortion, because you can't do an abortion like the old-fashioned way. So
Right,
it's
so
a
you gotta-
partial birth abortion,
Yeah.
and sometimes they're born alive.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be an aborted baby, and then they happen to be born. It's so disgusting, because when I was reading about it today, I almost started vomiting. I could barely speak about it right now.
Right.
So let's just show the clip of what they do to these babies who
Right. So
make
this
it through
is
the abortion
this is in the radio
intention.
in Virginia, and this is the governor of Virginia speaking. And this is, I'm sorry, Yabui, clip 11.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The
you see
infant
the
would be
horns
kept
coming
comfortable.
out of the top of his head?
The infant
swear I
would be
could see the horns.
resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
even that woman looks horrified watching him talk. The woman sitting there is just like,
So we're gonna set the baby aside.
yeah, that's what they do. And that's because when I was young, you never heard about a partial birth abortion. That just didn't
Right.
happen. And then someday, like I think it was like in the 2000s, this partial birth abortion comes out. And it's like you hear these horror stories and you can't believe what they do, that they have the baby partially born and they like jam something in its brain. But sometimes it's so disgusting.
It's so disgusting.
And it's like, who wants to live in a society that says that that's okay?
Well, you know who does want to live in a society? Tim Walz. Tim Walz is poor. Let's go to clip 12. Tim Walz wants to live in a society where that's okay. He thinks, listen, woman has a right to choose.
And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says
And wasn't the microphone supposed to
execution
be?
after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay.
Yeah, so it's just awful, and it really just it comes down to just lack of human value. And they talk so much about how we need to support everybody else, but when it comes down to supporting a baby, it's like whatever.
Well, this is what do the Democrats have a conscience?
Well, honestly, relating back to our resources thing, they're probably like, let's kill all the babies because we're taking in so many migrants. We need the resources for the migrants. We can't have the resources for the babies.
Babies are so vulnerable, and you really have to take care of them. And God makes them cute because they drive you effing crazy. You have to feed them. They do the cocky and the pee-pee. You have to, then you're trying to potty train them.
Right.
And then you're trying to feed them. They throw food, and then you're like, and then they look so cute, and you're like, I love you.
Yeah.
And you take care of them. And that's how babies work. But a lot of people, they don't care. And this has been going on through history. This is nothing new. Didn't the Spartans, if the baby wasn't cool, they would just throw it off a mountain or something like that?
Well, they would so the Spartans would put it on a mountain and leave it. I think it was like 1 or 2 days. And if they came back and the baby was alive, then it would be a Spartan because it would be a true warrior. It could survive. And if it didn't, then it wasn't a true Spartan, and they'd kick it off the mountain and walk away. And that's how it was. That's truth.
It's just, it really is disgusting. And the thing is that people, I didn't want to know about it, but this is what people are having a problem with, and I totally agree with Trump on this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit around in a society and be like, oh, yeah, sure, it's okay. You're 9 months pregnant, decide you don't want the kid, sure, go kill it. It's not a life.
Right.
That's BS. I'm not
And
going to say it's okay.
as far as the notion that doctors are turning away people who are bleeding out in their cars, because that was another lie that she told last night.
Oh, I know.
Oh, so a woman could be bleeding out in her car and not get the treatment that she needs. That is such bullshit.
You know what
and if you believe that, you're sick. You're actually like an ass. If you're sitting there like, oh my God, somebody's bleeding out in their car and they're not getting taken care of, you are just an ass sitting there and actually believing that.
Well, how about when she said, and these poor women who need to go have abortions or need to go get medical treatment, and they have to go on a plane and sit next to a stranger. I was like, what did she just say?
What a line.
I'm like,
talk about privilege.
Exactly. When
Talk
she
about
said have to sit
privilege.
next to a stranger on a plane, welcome to the real world, Kamala. That's how we're all living. We're all taking commercial airlines where we're sitting next to strangers.
Not
you live
her.
in New York,
Not
you're on the
her.
bus next to strangers. You're on the train next to strangers.
Not
you're on
the big Democrat donors.
Can you
They don't
believe
take
that
public transportation.
I was like, I could not believe when she said actually having to sit next to a stranger.
What a line.
I couldn't
Having to
believe
sit
it.
next to somebody you don't know.
Yeah, you need to go get your abortion and have to sit next to a stranger on a plane to do it.
It's really like when you really think about it, it's just like these are the
people are
people, these are the
crazy.
leaders.
She's crazy. Kamala,
Yeah.
but she looked really good. That's the problem. When you listen to the debate without seeing her,
But she
you're like,
looked
this lady's a
fantastic.
nut. But when you're watching it on TV, you're like,
Yeah.
her hair looks great. The way that she, does that.
Right.
You're like, hey, you know what? She's not such a wackadoo after all.
Yeah, she looks
That's
fantastic.
It's like we get hypnotized by, because she is a very attractive woman. And she looks very put together, like she knows what she's doing. But
It was the rapper that she was with. Remember the rapper like years ago?
I know she. Let's not even go into her
Who's the
love
rap-
life. We'll be here
Who's
all
the-
night.
who's
We have
the
too many.
rapper?
But
Who's the rapper that she was with? All right, so I think let's jump around a little bit. We'll get a little jump around
Can't touch
going
this.
here. One of the things that we have to talk about, because it was like the highlight of the night. They're eating dogs. All right, that was the highlight of the night. Talking about
Oh my
Springfield,
gosh,
Ohio,
yeah.
because everybody was like, "That's crazy. That's not actually happening. That's crazy. Trump's psycho. Like they're eating dogs. Like is Trump like an idiot? Like what? No." He's not an idiot. That's what's so sick about what's going on. He's not an idiot. This is actually happening. So let's refer back to what's going on in Springfield, Ohio. Let's go to clip 19. Let's go to clip 19. This was the famous clip.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
So that was the major clip that was going viral that people were talking about. And this story really honestly broke the night before the debate. And the only reason we know is we were sitting on the couch. It was after Monday Night Football. So we had watched Monday Night Football and we're just flipping through channels. We're watching News Nation. Fredo was on the TV.
Chris Cuomo, how the mighty have fallen, working at midnight.
Working at midnight, right? He was on
Live.
primetime CNN. He got chased out. So now he's midnight on News Nation, Fredo himself. And we're watching Fredo. And Fredo brings on Geraldo. He brings on somebody from Obama's campaign team back in 2012. And somebody from Bush's team or something. I don't know, some other Republican. And they bring them on and they're talking. And they start talking about the animals getting eaten in Springfield, Ohio. And you had told us about the TikToks that you were seeing, and we're like, what the hell is on your TikTok? Like, you're out of your mind. Like, that's not going on. And sure enough, Fredo himself says, and they're eating animals in Springfield. I don't even know if this is true, and they're talking about it. And when you really look at what's going on in Springfield, Ohio, that's actually what's going on. So let's hear from somebody in Springfield, Ohio.
Yes.
I want to play the clip.
Because this is even before Trump.
This was before Trump, yeah.
Right.
So this is in Springfield, Ohio. This is what's going on right now, and he's speaking to the city council. Oh, I'm sorry, Abui. It is clip
Number 21.
21, yes.
It's like kind of odd that like a guy like me has to come out from doing what I do on a daily basis to have fun, because I see what's going on in these streets, and I see you guys just sitting up there in them comfy chairs and suits, and I'm getting out here every day, and I'm broadcasting this, and you guys are just sitting up there in suits or something. Like, I really challenge you guys to get out here and do something. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're running into... they flipping cars in the middle of the street. And I don't know how, like, y'all can be comfortable with this. Like, I don't know, like, who's getting paid from it. I honestly feel like someone's getting paid from it in the background. You got a bunch of people on a bus getting dropped off at a gas station to come down here. I know a single mom that FaceTimed me this morning at the welfare office that really need something. And it's nothing but immigrants over there. And I don't even want to, seem like I'm coming down on the immigrants, because it's the people that's bringing them down here. Because wherever they're at, that's what they're used to, bro. They're in the park grabbing up ducks by their neck and cutting their head off and walking off with them and eating them. Like, y'all get the high.
Like honestly, guys, imagine if you're in the park with your child, you're in the park, and think about it for the Brantford people. If you're in the great Foot Park, the most wonderful park in the world, Foot Park. You're there at Foot Park, and your kids are playing on the slide, or the supply pond, and you see somebody reach into the pond and grab a duck by its head and rip the head off. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's crazy. That's insanity. That's insanity.
But you know what, Carlos? Honestly, is it insanity? Because we have people coming here from all over the world with their own cultures.
Insanity,
and
though.
you know, who are we to tell them that the way that they do things is wrong? If that's how they take care of business, and they just go to the river, grab a goose
in the middle of the and just
that's
cut
how
its
they
head
do
off
it.
in the middle of the park.
I mean, who are we to say that that's not the right thing to do? That we could just say
that's insanity.
Well, I don't know.
Come
but in
on.
their culture, they're thinking we're insane. These people go to the market when you could have fresh duck right from the river.
No, come on, give me a break. You can't go and kill something right in the middle of the park in front of everybody.
I know, but all I'm saying is...
Can somebody just go kill a deer then in the middle of the street?
Well, I know that RFK did hit a bear.
You can't go hunt. You can't. Those hunters, the big hunters with the rifles, nobody's walking around in the middle of the park shooting deer and rabbit and
No, I know.
shit.
I mean, listen, this is how they are culturally, and we need to respect their culture.
No, that's not true. Not when you don't come here correct. Not when you don't come here correct. If you came here correct and got your papers, and it's like, I'm an immigrant.
It's totally
it's like,
insane. But we're living in an insane world with an insane person running this country right now. He's not even running the country. We don't even know who's running the country.
Well, so Trump brings this up, and of course, our guy, Mr. Demure, pushes back and says you're full of crap.
Because it's the 3-on-1 debate.
Of course. So let's go to clip 20 when Trump tries to bring this up.
I want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But
television.
the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager.
I love the face.
I'll let you respond.
Well, honestly though, and Gabe said it perfectly. He's like, yeah, like if I'm on the city, I'm not saying that people are doing that in the middle of the street. Like, of course, I'm like, no, that's crazy. That's what's going on. Like, that guy's full of crap.
It
He's
is.
definitely like, no, that would never happen in our Springfield, Ohio.
It's
Like,
totally-
he's just saying that. But the truth of the matter is it's happening, and the people are bearing it because they don't want you to actually see who is coming into the country. They want to have open borders and be like, listen, anybody could come in, but this is who's coming in.
And we're not having people come in legally where we say, do you want to assimilate to our cultures? We're
Well-
just letting people come in and do whatever they want.
So, well, listen, and this is a very scary time, and I did get a message before we move on. So let's go to clip 22 really quickly before we move on. I got this message
well, we
before.
gotta-
I know we gotta
Okay.
go. I just want to make sure that we get this statement out because I
Okay.
promised them that I would get this out.
Okay.
And they were serious. They were like, "We need to get this out for us. We need our message out there." So I wanted to make sure that I respected the pets and the porkies and the ducks. They needed to make sure that they know what's going on. So I needed to make sure that I got that message out there. I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys. I'm fighting on your side. I'm fighting on your side. So, I mean, listen, we have so much more to cover.
I know,
We're
and the
running out of
show-
time.
We're already out of time.
I know.
We
We're
gotta get
running-
going.
we do.
I'm sorry, there was just too much material. I guess
There
maybe
was.
we'll do to be continued some of it next week. Like we'll take the best of or something like
Well,
that.
one thing I do think we need to touch on today before we
Okay.
get going,
All
and
right,
this
let's do it.
is not debate related. This is just it is it is 9/11, so we do gotta pay our respects and just make sure that we say like the tragedy of what happened and how sad it is, and obviously never forget 23 years ago today what happened, and it's emotional. So I try to stay away from the topic, especially with New Yorkers, and because definitely when you think about it, New Yorkers have the most sense of gravity to what the situation was. So I try to stay clear from it, but it is something that you'd be naive to kind of move away from it or not bring it up. So I did want to just say, it's a tragedy, and we pray for the victims and for the families and everything that happened that day. Our prayers are with you, and we stand with you guys. So
And listen, I don't want any more wars. Like, can we
Yeah.
not elect the same people? Because, I mean, I really feel like Bill Clinton's policies that rolled into George Bush's policies.
Mm-hmm.
This is a military-industrial complex. Can we get away from these people and try to make America safe again?
that's the truth. That's the truth. And listen, whether you love or hate Trump, there has never been more peace in the world when Trump was president. That's a fact. That's a fact. If you look it up, there was no, Ukraine and Russia, that wasn't going on. Israel and Palestine were actually making peace. Netanyahu, they were signing peace agreements
The
with
Abraham
Middle Eastern
Accords.
countries. The Abraham Accords, exactly. There was peace in the world. And that's just the truth. So you're naive if you think, oh, Trump's going to start World War III. Trump is a warmonger. You're insane, because there's never been more peace. And now that Joe Biden's in office and the Harris administration is pressing on, there's never been more violence. So just open your eyes and think a little bit, because that's the truth. That's what's going on. So I just want you guys to leave a little thought there to think about what's going.
Well, I have to say, what happened on 9/11, and when I see what goes on in Ukraine, it makes me scared, because I don't want to have 20 years from now another 9/11, because some little boy in Russia or some little boy in Ukraine is like, I see my family and friends all dying in a war, and the U.S. is who was responsible for funding it.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I am concerned about a lot of times.
Right, well, that's
we
what
got to get
happened.
out of the wars, guys. And
Yeah.
to me, that's enough. We have a ton of stuff that we could have gone over. We have war stuff from Kamala.
And we'll touch base on it next week. We'll definitely touch base on it next week. But, finishing off here, shout out to the chat. Thank you guys so much for everybody who participated. Bella, you're awesome. Thank you so much for participating and giving us some pushback. Obviously, the usuals in here. Jake, Matt Potter, Lord
Corey.
Central, Corey, Reddington, J.A., you were a beast today. Scott Villa, as always, giving us great insight. Everybody in the chat has been wonderful, and we thank you guys so much. Please make sure you're liking, subscribing, send it out, share it to everybody, push it out. We want to, get as many people involved in the conversation. We're trying to, just talk to people in real talk. This is real talk.
Well, the mainstream media lies. They lie, and even David Demure says, I don't get things from the TV. Yeah. And he's a reporter on TV. So please, like our show, do your own research. Let's make America great again.
Well, that's what Taylor Swift said. Do your own research, right? So listen to the queen. Do your own research. Even though that's such
let's
bullshit.
all wake up, people, okay?
Yeah.
Because we need to make America great again, and we want to see people
we need to go back in the right
not
direction.
suffering.
We need to go back in the right direction. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Tune in next week, and we'll be back same time, same place, and we look forward to hearing from you guys again next week. So see you later. Thanks so much, guys. Make the right play. Let's go. Boop, boop.
You bullied us. Boop, boop.